Hi, I'm Glenn Whipp with the Los Angeles Times. The HBO comedy Veep has won the Emmy the past 2 seasons for Best Comedy Series. Joining us today, and it hasn't missed a beat in season 6, and joining us today from the cast, Matt Walsh. Welcome, man.
Thank you.
Emmy nominee, Matt Walsh.
Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, that is my feather in my cap. Yes.
That was your first Emmy nomination?
That was my first and only Emmy nomination,
well,
yeah.
I'm just going to say first of many.
I'll take it.
You know, we'll just...
Do you have that power?
I do.
Can you make that happen?
Well, there's some debate about that, but what was that like, though? I mean,
It was a thrill.
Yeah.
It was the most excitement is finding out. I was not aware that was the morning, and then getting a deluge of emails and texts from friends and people you've worked with, and the genuine happiness for it.
Yeah.
It was really fun,
Yeah.
and it's the actual event is stressful. I find that very stressful.
Was it more stressful because you were nominated?
Yes. Yes.
Because, from talking to people, even people, and I think most people genuinely feel this way. It's an honor to be nominated. Thank you. But then once you're there, it's strangely different. This whole other thing kicks in, right?
I don't think, to me, it was just tremendous stage fright. We were the first category, and I'm assuming I was a long shot anyways, but you just get so scared of I don't even want to get up there. You're just stage fright I haven't had in a long time.
Right, yeah.
And so it was oddly a relief to not have to go up there, sort of,
Yeah. Yeah, and when you talk about stage fright, you're used to being on the stage and doing improv.
I am, but that's not your, it's out of your environment because you have to be poised and say something and thank people, and I don't know, and it feels like everyone's watching you. It's very stressful.
You get advice from Julia. She's been on stage.
Oh my God. Well, she's smart because she does bits usually. Or last year she had a very poignant comment about our show and her father's passing, which was beautiful. But usually she's all about doing something funny or stupid, which is such a great way to go at it.
Right. Did you ever imagine, and we're in season 6 of Veep now, did you ever imagine in these earlier years that you would start to be asked questions about giving advice to the current press secretary of the United States of America?
No, I never envisioned a terrible administration like we have now, or a terrible press secretary like we have now. And I've never felt like I'm a pundit of any kind to give advice to anyone. But this year, everyone asked me about Sean Spicer. I always just say he should quit. That's all I can say about that.
That's your. So, but these are, it's a comedy.
Yeah.
But these aren't comic questions. People are asking seriously. Mike McLintock is now sort of an example.
He's like a meme for press secretaries, sort of. Yeah. I think people go to Veep. We were talking a little bit. It's very escape, because I think this season felt very anticipated because there was such bad news coming out of D.C. and this administration was such a train wreck. I think people wanted some escapism, and I think, fortunately for us, she's not president. She's even lower. It's always funny when Selena's at the bottom, and so she's out of her presidency. And so their intention was to just explore what Obama and Carter and Clinton are doing in their post-presidential legacy. And I think it benefits the show that she is not in the White House, because it would be difficult to heighten what's actually coming out of the White House.
Maybe I was going to say, maybe if the show stays on long enough, you could add another name to that, exploring people out of office kind of thing. Maybe it won't be 3 years from now. Maybe,
sure.
That's a possibility.
Sure, I'm
But
game.
you say you would, your basic advice to Sean Spicer would just be, but he does not want to quit. So how can you help him? You've been up at that podium before. You've watched a few of these.
I just think his boss is worse than Selena. That administration is more inept than Selena's administration. And I think his job has been to
That's by the way.
Crazy, right? It's insane.
Yes.
It's absolutely insane. I agree. And his job is to sort of take the slings and arrows of the press and also to bold-face lie. And it's just, I think just having some respect for yourself is you got to get out of there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know it's showbiz, like you want to be at front and center, and I'm sure he's been knocking around DC like Mike McLintock for 20 years, and now he has total access to the most important position in the world. So it must be exciting, but the other side of that is it's just a living nightmare.
Right. I guess I'm remembering back to some of Mike's greatest hits in his press conferences, but usually he'd get out of there before he made the situation worse.
That's right. He actually, we've talked about it a little bit in the writer's room or filming when Mike was at the podium. We always wanted it plausible that he was a believable press secretary. So he is a buffoon, and he is basically an 8-year-old boy. Like, he's very easily distracted, and he can't control his appetites, and he makes poor decisions. But at that podium, he was competent, and we made a point of that. There were discussions in the room like, that doesn't seem believable. He should be actually good because he's on camera, he's in front, he's the face of the administration. When he gets off the podium, he can slip on a banana peel or whatever, but in that moment, we made sure that he was believable.
Makes you wonder what Spicer's like off camera then, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you don't have your mustache right now. Is the mustache just
it's
a
summer,
Mike thing?
Glenn. It's the summer. It's 4 degrees hotter if I have the mustache up here. So I ditch the mustache during the summer. And HBO pays for the mustache, so when I start working next year, I'll bring the mustache back.
You get a little bonus.
Yeah, I get a mustache bump.
It's like
it's an incentive.
I don't know how much. Are you a baseball fan? Charlie Finley in the Oakland A's. He used to pay his players to grow
mustaches.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. Back then it was like $100, but $100 back then was
sure, it meant something.
A lot of money.
Yeah. No, HBO cares more about the mustache than they do Matt Walsh. That's for sure.
You guys were shooting an episode the night of the election.
Yes.
What was that like?
Like all of us, we thought it seemed like Hillary would probably win, and then as the returns came in throughout the evening, we were actually filming a scene where Selena was monitoring elections in Georgia as part of her post-presidential duty. So we were in an election scenario, which was very bizarre in a fictional foreign country, and it just got gloomier and gloomier, and then it just got silent. And I do think the editors had to struggle for footage
that was usable.
By the end of the evening. It just literally got gloomier and gloomier and quieter, and that would be my description of the evening.
Mm. And then shortly after, you guys, was there a break planned?
Yeah, there was a break planned, and I think they extended it for another week because I think the writers kind of just had to take stock to see if anything changes because of this crazy thing that just happened. And at the end of the day, they didn't change anything. The fortunate thing was she's not president. All the storylines were intact, and they just continued onward. And I think there may have been a couple jokes here and there that had to be pulled out because they seemed to be topical about stuff coming out of D.C. Like there was an insult about Jonah Ryan liking to get urinated on. And we pulled that out because it seemed like, well, that actually is something that's being talked about by our current president.
Or the Twitter thing with Selena using Twitter from last
that happened
from
last season.
Yeah,
that had real stakes.
Right.
That had legitimate stakes in our audience's mind. But now, if you did a Twitter joke, it would be very tame. It wouldn't even.
It wouldn't be a joke. It
wouldn't
land.
It's like, why is he running to stop her from tweeting?
Yeah. That's what our presidents do. Yeah.
Unless they don't have international roaming, and then they're quiet for 4 or 5 days.
Well, that's a very Mike thing.
I know,
right?
that happened in Qatar. Mike ended up downloading a movie accidentally.
Mike is on the edge financially. He always has been. He had the boat from a past season, and I remember there was a great moment this season because he's helping Selena write her memoir.
Yes.
And he has the big. He's the only one who can do it because he took notes. He has the diary, although the events contained in the diary are pretty, not exactly book-worthy, are they?
No, a lot of what Mike recorded was every meal he ate and the food at the banquets and the various embassies he visited, but also the meetings she had and description of who was on the plane or who they met with. So that's why Selena needed him. And Dave Mandel spoke about this. He said he based it on the book idea. Is like apparently Mick Jagger tried to write a book a long time ago, and couldn't remember anything because he was always off partying or having sex. And so one of the other guys in the band had kept a diary, but the book never happened.
Right. That's funny because Bill Wyman, the
Yes.
bassist, kept a diary.
Bill
And
Wyman,
I think
yes.
that book came out and it was so boring because it was just like Mike's
Mike's
diary,
book,
Mike's big thick book. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny that you said that that Spicer has a worse boss
Yes.
than Selena, because Selena.
No.
I mean, I love the episode this season when they kind of have the sleepover, Mike, and it's like Gary comes in. She hasn't yelled at me for 24 hours. I mean, that was probably the longest it had ever been, right?
It is funny because all the people in her world are in an abusive relationship, but all it needs is like one day of happiness and they're addicted to Selena again.
And that'll tide them over for
It'll
the next,
tide them over for months or a year or something.
Yeah.
It'll allow her to be cruel to them. And I think Mike has a ton of history with Selena. Like, I think they've been knocking around politics for 20 years. So I think he's very loyal, and I think he remembers the good times. And so I think he perceives a friendship there. And so he's willing to hang on. And it's also driven out of need, financial need, because it is funny when Mike's chasing finances. The writers love to put Mike under the thumb of like being broke, et cetera. So there's a personal stake there too, because he has 3 adopted children now, and he's going to have to pay for private school for those kids. So
right,
he's
if they
really
get in.
If they get in. I know.
He wrote the letter for Selena to sign, and then
that was funny because I almost like that was like a moment where like, oh, I wish he didn't give her the letter. Like, it'd be funny if Mike, but he of course would never do that.
Yeah,
but that was a moment where it's like, oh, you gave her the letter.
Yeah,
you gave it up.
But what else is he going to do? It's like you say, they're in abusive relationships, and I love that he spends the night at Selena's house, and they're going through scrapbooks and photo albums, and then Gary comes in, and he's just aghast.
Yeah.
That Mike has this privilege of spending the whole night with Selena, and then Selena orders him to go get a Sprite.
Yes.
It's like, oh boy, but then you slip up.
Yes.
And Gary, the face on Tony Hale's face when he takes away the Sprite from.
He loved it.
There's
He's
so many
petty.
great,
Well, they are like rats in a cage fighting for Selena's attention at times. She's the primary relationship, and they don't necessarily care about one another. That is absolutely true. And I think Selena says this isn't after Mike challenges her on her memory, because she's remembering things incorrectly, and he's sort of like, wait a minute, that's not true. She turns on him and says, this isn't a movie theater, and tells him he can't have a Sprite.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally, he had it in his hand, and Gary's like,
do they ever mine your own life for Mike
moments? I think, I'm sure, like, obviously everybody on the show, especially Jonah, gets criticized for how they look. Like, I've been called a gay Irish fireman or a sad egg or whatever. I'm a little messy. Jonah, of course, anything tall or whatever, they'll insult him for. So your physical appearance certainly gets attacked. And then in my own personal life, I think because for example, I do chew nicotine gum, and that ended up in the show last year. I don't have a boat, so that doesn't apply. But I think unconscious. I'm probably a little messy sometimes, so Mike is a little messy. I think early on, we would put extra stains of coffee on Mike and stuff like that, because that is true. I do.
Brush it a little.
I do tend to spill at least a cup of coffee every day. I'm being careful now because I'm on camera. But yes, I do have certain tendencies that have folded into the character, but he's not identical to me, no. I'm
going to ask you a few Mike moments from this year.
Please.
And see. Have you ever had an Have you ever had an 8 egg white omelet?
No. I love that, though. I remember some salesman, I used to have a job in my dad's company, and he ordered an 8-egg omelet or something. That's disgusting. No, I've never had an 8-egg white omelet.
Have you ever eaten food left out in a hotel hallway?
Garbage. We call that garbage mouthing. I was a waiter, and when I was poor in college, people would eat half a pizza and they wouldn't box it up and take it home, I would garbage mouth that pizza.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay.
Not today, but back in the day, sure. Hotel food, it's a little dicier. Depends on, no, I don't think I did. I don't think I have.
Have you ever mistaken cocoa butter for zinc oxide?
No, I have never mistaken cocoa butter for zinc oxide. No.
I bet you've been sunburned.
Oh my
kind of
gosh.
like Mike
Yeah, when I was a
was.
kid, I used to get like bubbles. You know, when you get so sunburned, your skin bubbles. I'm very pale, so I am very sun sensitive, but now I'm careful.
I like you. I mean, do you, you were talking about how you have everybody's fair game on this
Yes.
show. I mean, when somebody new comes on the show, maybe for an episode or two, do you have to kind of warn them or break them in?
That is
this
true.
going to be, don't get your feelings hurt.
It's absolutely true, because guest actors will come in for an episode or a scene, and they'll sit down and you're rolling, and you'll call them like a fat tub of lard or whatever the writers have given you to say to them. And then you just want to make sure after the scene's over that, like, hey, we're nice people, I'm so sorry.
They're
So you-
brushing away a tear while
Yeah,
you say
so you
that,
do
but yeah.
prep them, or you try to let them know that you're a nice person. So you do make, with the people on the show that regularly, you don't have to worry about it, but with new people, yes, you do try to let them know that you're nice and that everybody gets made fun of, and let it roll off your back.
Okay, we have a handful of questions
Oh,
here.
good.
I'm gonna throw some out. Sorglosser, I'm very sorry, Sorglosser, if I'm mispronouncing your name. Sorglosser Burger. I don't even know if that's a name, but I'm going to say it is because I don't want to hurt Sorglosser.
Sorglosser Burger. Okay.
What kind of relationship?
Sounds regal.
It does. It does.
Sounds like a Slovenian prince.
And there's a question, and this could be, what kind of relationship would Selena and Angela Merkel have?
Oh my God, there would be such infighting. Selena is not a fan of women, as you know, and there would
Right.
be a lot of pettiness and making sure Selena looked better and all that. Vanity would come into play. Selena would not like Angela Merkel.
Yeah.
She would feel threatened, mostly.
Probably. Megan on Facebook, what do you think is the meanest thing Selena has ever said to Mike? I mean, that's a hard one, isn't it?
She told him the other day, 2 episodes ago, when he was eating food, it looks like his mouth is a Haitian porta potty. She's like, close your mouth. It looks like a
Yeah, I wrote
Haitian
that one
porta
down
potty.
actually when I was watching
That's
the episode.
disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what, and she said something. She compared me to Uncle George, who was played by Brian Doyle Murray. He's like an old booze bag with a whiskey-soaked mustache. I thought that
Nice.
was pretty good.
This is a question from a guy named David Mandel.
Oh my God!
Now, I don't know if
You think it's the?
says
Does he have a blue
it says
check?
hi. Well,
Is he official?
we don't have the official
Okay. I'm going to pretend it
ability
is.
on this iPad, but it says, "Hi Matt, it's David Mandel, Veep exec producer.
Okay.
Where do you keep your mustache when you're not when we're not filming?" This sounds like a Mandel question.
There's a Lloyd's of London in Los Angeles where I can lock it up in a safety deposit box, and it's insured. It's worth more than anything in my life. And then I take it out, start brushing it in September, and then get the glue people to come back, and then I perma-glue it for the whole season. So I keep it in this Lloyd's of London safety deposit box, but I can't say where.
Okay. He has
Very
a follow-up.
valuable. Oh.
He has a follow-up question too. Also,
This is Dave.
Yes.
He's very follow-uppy.
Also, which character is Trump? You?
Well, Mike is a buffoon, so he is similar to Trump in that way.
As is basically everybody.
I know.
It's
I know.
all
And
have a little Trump in us, right?
and the pettiness of Jonah, and Selena has a lot of Trump in her actually, because she pretends to care about the common man, but is disgusted by poor people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we all have a little Trump in us
Yeah.
on that show.
Yeah. We've been asking everybody who comes in
Yeah.
these same questions, so I'll fire them off to you. What is the last show that you binge watched?
Oh, great question. I think it was this docuseries on Netflix called Keepers, and it's about a murder of a nun in Baltimore.
Okay.
That is a binge.
Yeah.
It's not really a show, but it was a docuseries.
Okay. If you could go back and be on any classic TV show,
Oh my God.
which would you choose?
I might go like Andy Griffith and play like a big goofy character.
Yeah.
That would be so fun. Yeah. Just to work with Don Knotts and people like that.
All right.
They had great character actors on those shows.
You could be Goober.
Well, I couldn't be Goober, but I'd love to be a cousin of Goober.
Yeah.
Or maybe even like a, yeah, I'm going to stick with that one. I was going to say Hogan's Heroes, but I don't know how I'd fit into Hogan's Heroes. Anyways,
All right.
I'll stick with Mayberry.
What was the first paid acting job that you had?
First paid acting job. Great question. I think I did a comedic play where we got like $5 a night that was a send-up of The Last Supper. It was written by these women who ran an improv school in Chicago, and that's how they made their money every year around Christmas time. Or maybe it was around Easter time, probably around Easter. And I played Peter, but it was a comedic send-up of The Last Supper.
Okay. But that's a meaty role. You had the doubt and all that
Yes,
stuff.
it was a good role, but it was a bunch of comedians, and we were not very serious actors at the time, so we clowned around a bit too much.
Did you earn your $5?
I did, but the funniest thing is after it was very low, like nobody made money, and after the first night, because they had grapes and hummus on the table, the woman who ran the show, she's like, "Stop eating the food! You already had dinner! This is after the supper!" So she was yelling at us for eating the food in the play. It was funny.
Yeah.
It's a great impression if you knew the woman. Great impression.
I'm sure she's watching now.
Joe Forsberg. Yeah.
Thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you.
It's good to talk to you.
Thank you.
And for more of these Emmy conversations, please go to latimes.com. Thanks for watching.